Good morning, everybody. All right, quiet. Pretty much everything's quiet this morning. Somebody assessing what's going to happen next. NVIDIA earnings, a bunch of other earnings, retail companies coming out, I think Thursday. Um, Quickly, our internals that we anticipated would reach an extreme. We talked about that last week, and they have. So, risk prolongs is here. Equity put call ratio moves faster than the total put call ratio. They're both through the lower bands. They could go higher. Breadth has been going sideways as the market has gone up. So kind of not bad, but more of the same, not having great breadth as the market advances, but it doesn't mean we don't find the ones that are advancing or starting to advance. Historically, a situation like this, markets up as much as they have, internals where they are. You start getting what we call accidents, which are breakout failures, setups that were working don't work the way they did before. That's something that I don't think I'd say most, if not everybody, doesn't really understand when they're starting out that a setup isn't necessarily a setup. I mean, yeah, it's the same formation of price bars, but they react differently, depending on market environments. So, the arrangement of bars communicates the same thing, assuming everything else technically is the same, it's a bottoming pattern, for example, or a continuation pattern or whatever it might be. So what we have right now, the concepts that we talk about and teach in the courses. So as it relates to the S&P 500 and some other markets, we have a greater than 100% retracement. That's a good thing, right? You've had prices that were down here. They certainly look like they wouldn't go lower. Remember this move to the lower part here. It wasn't a significant support point, but at the time we were thinking that, things being what they were, and I'll review that in a second, there was the potential for prices to come down here. And there certainly was. What changed? I'll show you. But back to here, we've got this wide range bar that formed in the middle of last week. This was on the, the news, the market gapped up, CPI news and rallied and 100% greater than 100% retracement, wide range bar after a move like this. Historically, we know it means that momentum is going to stall, and that's happened already. How much it continues to stall, how long it goes sideways, whether it pulls back, that's yet to be seen. And we see, markets were up here, the S&Ps were up here a bit, and now they're pulling back. So it looks kind of ominous on a 5-minute chart, but it's really nothing's going on here. It's just chopping around, just a little bit of a hesitancy to push it higher. That's a good example of what I just said, meaning if this was, say, a week ago and we had this pattern, it probably would have gone up here. Now, it stops at this resistance area. So we'll deal with it. It is what it is. Spiders, same story. Interestingly, two things that as I'm looking at this and thinking about last week, let me go back here for a second. Look at the futures. All right. They just peekaboo above that high there. Most times futures move further than the cash market or the ETF. And futures traders kind of in one sense care less. Not like they care less, but keeping an eye on other things. But futures being what they are, leveraged, and maybe futures trader get a little more excited and push things maybe further than they should. But look at the distance that the spiders are above the prior high. Typically, it's the other way. So it's interesting. And I had pointed out last week that when we look at the Dow, I didn't catch that part about the S&Ps last week. And I think looking at it now and, look at the Dow pushing up above the prior high, and then you go to the futures and they haven't even exceeded the prior high. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, other than maybe some hesitancy to get that aggressive could be a good thing. That there's some uncertainty or apprehensiveness or a little lack of that all out bullish, point of view, get all in there. It's going to go to the moon. We'll see how that unfolds. Now that we've got a couple of days going sideways, right here, it's built a little support area. So do we get a close below a prior day's low? And so from the move up here, there was no close below a prior day's low. So if that should happen today, tomorrow, the end of next week, there'd be some information that would guide us toward, hey, that didn't happen for 2 weeks and now it has. So there's been a change in sentiment. There's been a change between supply and demand, and that's a clear piece of information that says that some correction is going on, something a little bit more severe than just 2 sideways days. And here, the market closed well on Friday, but didn't exceed the prior day's high. So just neutral at resistance. SPX top line didn't move. Understandable. This number came up a bit, and you can see as things get quiet, the numbers get closer together. There's no significant news coming out today. Well, the news comes out a little later in the week. And, Alex in the green room here was posting some comments from Fed people, basically saying they're a little disappointed in the news, economic news, and that, they're fine holding steady for now. I guess telling the truth, we all know, but maybe trying to stop the markets from getting a little too ahead of themselves and toning down the bullish sentiment that has reached an initial extreme here, which we can measure. So we're probably going to get, some more choppy price action. I think it's unlikely that it's going to go up here today. We'll see how things might move, and probably, it's kind of tight, but probably unlikely it's going to go down there either. I think what we're in store for is more of just chopping around. We'll see, what unfolds throughout the trading day. Yeah, you can see NASDAQ futures just peekabooed above the high. There's the wide range bar, communicates the same thing. Qs, let's see where they're at. They exceeded the high, by a reasonable amount. There's a wide range bar. There's unfilled gaps down below. It's chopping around. The hourly is still up. There's a little void below, of course, because of the wide range bar. So it needs a little bit of consolidation. Where are we here? Not just basically unchanged. You can see the cursor on the daily chart. Just nothing much going on here of any real interest pre-market. Transports, underperformed quite a bit. Got a sell setup on the weekly time frame. Let's see if it trades below here. Set an alert down below. Now, it came off of the low, with some decent momentum. It's been able to clear the moving averages. It moved down below the 50. It's still above the 200. So, without much going on here, news-wise, and the way things are trading here, I wouldn't expect this to do too much. It's underperformed. We'll see maybe if some transportation stocks can do a little better. This one doesn't look like it's going to do too good. Look how that moved down. It was kind of, so here's an example of a pattern, right? Obviously it's a bottoming pattern. It came off of the low quite nicely, and it pulled back on top of the 20 in green bar. So when we look for what we call catch-up trades, which are stocks or markets that have underperformed and the markets are bullish, they're going up, and the leaders have maybe reached their destination, these kind of patterns often play a little catch up. And here's one that went down. Well, that's some bearish price action. It's still down a whole bunch. Can it go lower? There's more support down here. So I think the downside is limited, but, just pointing out that there's a stock that you would think it's down a lot. And the concept of being oversold, you can see why it's not one you should be following, right? Especially indicators. Right? You think it's oversold here, it's oversold here. Is it oversold here? It's still going down. Who cares if it's oversold? There's no price pattern to suggest we should be thinking long. Well, here we slight, maybe the catch-up trade. But the only thing that would get us thinking possibly long or put spreads would be if today this thing rallied and formed a green bar negating this red bar. Then we'd have something to think about. Right now, we don't. All right. Kind of like I told you, I'd review what happened. We talked about this in the newsletter over the weekend. Where is my? All right. So what was happening here? We reviewed this weeks ago, where the markets were coming down. You can see my cursor moving along here. And we were talking about way back then was, hey, there's no way the Fed is going to lower interest rates. Was the word out there. Well, they're going to lower. And interest rates were moving up. And I thought just based on the trend, they'd go up to 5%. And, the dollar was flat or moving up. Remember, oil was moving up at the time and had that reversal down there. So we had all this intermarket bearish stuff going on. And then down here, and all of a sudden, look at the cursor on interest rates. Interest rates start dropping. The dollar has a reversal day. Oil is going down. So the whole intermarket bearish underpinnings begin to fall apart and the market starts bottoming. Now we've got oil bottoming out here. Interest rates flipped up, something else we talked about last week. This isn't an uptrend. It's coming down to minor support. Will it flip up? It did a little bit. And so these are things you want to keep an eye on this week. Does oil start moving up? It's doing nothing now. You can see it's down a little bit. And, interest rates are, up a bit. Again, markets aren't doing anything. So we're going to have to see more of this information begin to unfold before we really know, is the market going to just go sideways for a while? Maybe it's going to go sideways until the middle of the week. NVIDIA earnings, who knows what else is going to say, who knows what, other earnings reports and so on. So, you'll keep that in mind and keep our expectations in alignment with what is. Oil, hit those converging moving averages, 20 and 50, down a little bit, down in the context of the daily chart. Doesn't really mean anything. Bottoming action. It's in a downtrend, trying to make a turn. Hasn't done it. Gold was higher, backed off a little bit. Remember, we were talking about this bottoming pattern in gold. And, if inflation is, this doesn't always move based on inflation. I've seen gold go up many times where there was no inflation. So it just has its cycles, I suppose. But maybe it's got something to do with this government printing money at some point. And I've heard this for decades. At some point, it's going to come home to roost and it's going to be whatever, bad times. Maybe this is it. Who the hell knows? And maybe that's why gold is going up. But we'll see. Yeah, silver, that moved up beautifully, outperformed gold. It cleared these highs. So, I think buying silver and gold, I think those bull markets are going to continue. Bitcoin moving up a little bit. I was pointing out this head and shoulders bottom as it was beginning to form over the last couple of weeks, and it was chop, 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 and finally got the blast off. It's consolidating here. That definitely looks like it's going to go higher, which we see bullish patterns. They always look like they're going to go higher until something happens. And so see if it can clear these highs. There's plenty of overhead resistance here, but at least we've got this time correction and this downside shakeout to support the possibility of getting through here. So we'll continue to watch to see how this performs. As you can see right now, everything is pretty much just marking time, waiting for some information to guide it. I think we looked at the Russell futures, but they're not doing anything. Everything backed off here, maybe under these Fed guys talking here, but in the context of the daily trend and pretty much on the hourly, there's just nothing going on here. Oil. Some other guy, Alex is saying some other guy speaks at 9 o'clock. Barr, Walter speaks at 9 o'clock. Barr speaks. Jefferson at 10:30. So all of these guys are lining up to give their spiel. So it'll probably cause some jiggles. And yeah. So there were plenty of positives that happened. Semiconductors came on strong, came up into resistance. So we're at a point in time where the market's going to have to digest some of this, and don't be the frog in the blender, as we say. Keep your expectations aligned with what is, and we'll see how the rest of the week goes. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. And as we say in here many times, Greg said nothing's going on, and that's true. But even though nothing's going on in the broader markets, I got a ton of things going on of swing trading interest. Even a couple of new core loans. And so I'll get through as much as I can here. Let me see what Eris has for us on YouTube first. Has Beam bottomed out? Very possible. The monthly is a nasty breakout failure. So I don't know if it's a forever bottom, but it is a very intelligent point to start scaling as a bottoming pattern. You had a little 180, you had a deep retracement, I did switch them. All right, so it's not working. Greg, the chart switching is not working. You got to do something on your end. Here, I'll stop share. Try again. It's still not working. Greg, you there? Greg must have walked away. He has to do something on his end. So sorry, folks. Let me call him real quick.
See it now, Dan.
All right, it's still not switching over on my second login.
So I see it in Zoom.
What I'm saying, based on history, is if my second login is not seeing it, then I guarantee you, some people in the green room.
I don't know. Let's ask them.
Okay, now I see it. Finally. All right, let's continue. Sorry about that. All right, so this is what I was talking about. Beam, still in a downtrend, on major support. Nice reversal on the daily, weekly Climo reversal. So it's a beautiful point using multiple time frames and bottoming pattern, like you say, to start watching. So yes, I'm putting it on my list. All right, let me go through. Oh, it is. Shoot. All right, thanks, John. But I'll still watch it. I'll watch them anyway. Let me go through a couple of alarms here that went off, a couple of earnings trades. CCL, monster double bottom. We sold out of the money, $14 puts. I don't know what's up, but got a nice little pop here. We have naked puts on Friday. So this is also a fantastic example of RCL is dwarfing. This is at all-time highs, is dwarfing CCL. But we're traders. We shorted naked $14 puts on this monster W bottom. RCL, we did just a put spread for next week. So that's moving up. So good there. GDXJ, we've been long this. I had an up alarm, I guess, spike up here at 47.50. So I just reset it. Elon alarm, Alex gave me this. Daily, weekly, monthly breaking out. See, all time frames in alignment. So we'll start nibbling over the highs. It's not liquid though, so I don't know if it's real or not. Papa Romeo alarm. My low alarm went off. There's a bear 1, 2, 3. And it's not an excessive gap, so that's good to go. 5-minute low. Provided it's not an excessive move in the first 5 minutes. Fizzler. I had an up alarm go off, but now it's retracing back. That's a put spread idea. It's kind of it's a sloppy bull rectangle, whatever. But it was a closing breakout, bullish weekly, monthly. The best solar stock in the sector. There's not many good tradable ones in there. Let me just reset the alarm on this. This is a put spread over Friday's high, over 199.01. So, all right, let's check out a couple earnings stocks and then our big old watch list. I got, believe it or not, even though the markets are those bearish internals, I get out many more bullish ideas than I do bearish, but we will enter new bullish ones with caution, make them have to be extra juicy. So this LI, little EV stock, these are earnings I'm looking at. That's a nasty gap down, but no pattern. Wix, big old gap up. If this were Friday, I would be all over this for 0 DTE call spread, 30-minute low. But nothing to do with it now, in my opinion. This was a recent IPO. It was a gapping up 90 cents, but I don't see any volume, no pattern, globe. That's a big old gap, but gap and resistance. What do you want to do with it? QFIN opening flat. It is bullish daily, weekly, monthly. So I mean, just for new people, this is my monthly and this is my weekly. And I just because of space limitations on this laptop, I just show a little glimpse. And then whenever I want to look bigger, I expand it. But that's bullish, daily, weekly, monthly. Echo Hotel. So John, do you remember our discussion Friday going over earnings trades? I said, what gap would make this a bullish setup? And the intuitive ones like you said gap over Friday's high. It's bullish daily, weekly, monthly. So this is it's not excessive. It's 2011. So this is what I call a tier 1 gap setup that I'm going to watch for a controlled pullback and reversal on an intraday time frame. Plan? Makes sense? That's great. And that's exactly what I was hoping for on Friday when we talked about it. All right, this one's extended. Came out of a coma here with a gap, a second gap. So something's changed character with this little guy. But no pattern now. C-gen. Yeah, bottoming pattern again. I don't like the way it trades though. So that's it on earnings. I'll just go through as many on my watch list here as possible. Now, Alpha Romeo here, it's a closing breakout of an ascending triangle and a strong uptrend. And the only reason I didn't post this is because of the internals. If the internals were not at bearish levels, that's a bullish pattern. I'm just, based on history and, Greg uses the term accidents. This is a potential breakout failure where the internals are where they are. Rum, all right, rum we had as a long idea also. I'm coming in a little bit. My alarm went off, but let me reset it. Our gold alarm just went off. Another gold stock we're in. We have long calls on this. It looks fantastic. So let me set a new alarm. Our goal about 134.50. Yeah, it's in the letter done. Yeah, I don't announce, I don't put all our weekend letters on a silver platter in the green room because that's kind of a disservice to the subscribers, but we give the benefit of the updates. But yeah, it's in the weekend letter. All right, Campbell here, beautiful 1, 2, 3. Now Pepsi is also a 1, 2, 3, but I call it the A/B test where we compare the setup of two in the same sector. And again, this one is stronger, but look how far it is from the 50. So for a new swing setup, I like this one better. Buy Thursday, stop Thursday. Cough. This is a bear 1, 2, 3. Although the sector has been strong. Arrow closing breakout. See, this is a great retracement analysis. From our MT live. So this was greater than 100%. Now I went 90%. Now I went less than a third. Now I have closing breakout. So that looks great. And these oil sectors, my OIH alarm just went off. Kind of an inverse head and shoulder. I looked for a put spread, but there was not enough juice. XLE, don't like the target's not as good there on these two. So the ABC test, this one has the biggest void, OIH. Yeah, I posted MTR pre-market. So let me say hood alarm. Yeah, we can do a half lot. We can do a half lot here on NTR. Yeah, so that's and I'm gonna be late as always, keeping up. Expedia alarm, it's consolidation and a downtrend. It looks horrible. But it's a potential, bounce. It didn't have it had no juice for a put spread. And here's another one on my bounce watch, CVS, beat up. There was no premium for a put spread, but let me set a new alarm, 5780. CVS. Yeah, Alex, I got that NTR off your list, I think. Or I think I had it from last week, but I went ahead and posted it official pre-market. Look good. All right, let me CCL alarm again. Wow, CCL. An RCL now, if this closes like this, then that is a beautiful new trade setup. That looks great. All right. Puerto Rico. All right, so now we can do 5-minute low under 1620. And since we talked about it, I'll give it to you on. RCL. We have 139, 136. Midpoint right now is 14 cents. Yeah, that's a nice move. 143.28. RCL. Hey, you know what, Don? Because I know you like watching the entries on these put spreads. That RCL did not trigger until that deep pullback on Friday. So in retrospect, we got filled at the dead low. And now look how much profit we have. 0.14 a share. Good. All right, hood alarm went off. GME alarm went off. Those are both Q's strong today. Google, Amazon's a ripping. I still got an alarm on Amazon for a put spread and that deep retracement.
I made a little retest bottom and killed. Consider it for day trades. You get a 5-minute setup.
On what?
Shop.
Shop?
None of juice to do a put spread.
Yeah, that one kind of scares me until I see it close. All right, actually, let me type these out, but I can't. I need to focus on alarms right now, but I will review them. All right, hood. Yeah, okay, so that was an early alarm. I like hood. Um, let's do hood over the high 2019. All right, Pavel, 1 second.
Don't like it, Pavel. Daily is pseudo kind of a bottom. It's down a lot. Unless you're scalping, but I wouldn't do it as a swing. Look at the distance. Dan, I'll maybe bring up the chart. Look at the distance between the lows on the daily chart. The downside momentum is stalling.
On what, Summer?
CAH.
Yeah, I don't like that at all, long or short. What was he asking? Copper set up for short or long today. Nah, I don't like it long or
Oh,
short. Um, if it could trade above this red bar, though, I would consider it for a put spread.
well, look at the hourly chart, Pavel. It's near resistance. It's a bottoming pattern. If the hourly chart was
Now,
bottomed and the current data was going sideways and flat, where it could break out into a little void, you'd have an hourly chart that would support a short-term bias. This hourly chart and daily chart doesn't support doing anything right now.
all right. Ah, shoot, serial alarm. I said Friday. It'll take a miracle for that not to stop out. We did a half lot. So loss cut, we just so you all know, I'm sure you do, but we position size our spreadsheet for a hypothetical $300 max loss. And then it spits out the share size. So when we do a half lot, or the max loss is $150. Siri, you are gone. Oh shoot, my phone is talking to me now. I saw her light up. She was gonna start yelling profanities since I said she was gone. All right, DD, we're in from Friday. All right, this is a put spread idea, big old deep retracement. We had the 16 and a half, 12 and a half. Let's see what the juice is. Right now it's 41. And I wanted 45. Um, let's see that it triggered 2241. So it triggered right here. So I think it's fine at 41. That's fine. Do you want to miss the trade for for is it still a good trade at 41? That's the question. Let's do half position. Oh, now, okay, now it jumped to 45. So I actually, on your list, I mentioned to you before, if you can give me your list pre-market, then I can definitely review them then, particularly as you know, Mondays, a lot more scattered. Um, Amazon, Mara. I like Mara put spread over Friday's high. Fizzler looks great now over Friday's high. Rum alarm. They make Puerto Rican rum, I think. Yeah, I know. I saw CCJ was had a bullish close. Yeah, I was hoping to get a 1, 2, 3, John, but yeah, they look great. Yep, yep, they look great. Um, Uranium actually, I like it better. The AB test. Greg, this is a ETF. You got any interest for the ETF? Bullish all time frames.
On a pullback.
Well, if you do a third lot, stop under 20 MA. What's the difference? Might not get it.
Give it if you want.
All right. I don't give stop here. Specific 3056. All right. I will post that later. Ooh, Sierra. I posted pre-market put spread Friday's high. Tesla Friday's high put spread. All right, so those are all good now on the weekly options trader. Let's see, our Marriott put spread doing nothing, which is fine. That just looks fantastic if it can trigger. Oh, Arrow. Yeah, my alarm went off on Arrow. Now let's wait for a pullback. CPB if it triggers. Tomorrow, Friday's high. Puerto Rico hasn't triggered. Okay, so that my alarm going off on Elon was a false alarm pre-market. So I will reset it. Mark looks fantastic over last week's high, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at our opens here real quick. AA, our stop was 40.14. All right. That's where I got it. Stop center, this 15-minute bar. I'll set a tighter alarm though, 40.60. Actually, yeah, 40.70. ASO still weak, nice. Stop is Friday's high. Let me set a tighter stop here at 54.05. Let's see. Let's see where these $14 puts are. June 21, 14. What? Oh, I had the wrong symbol. I scared myself. Then we can close half it. Oh, so what got into these cruise ships?